Hello, this is Sarah Pritchett, confidence coach for women, and I'm excited to share with you today. If there's anybody that is new, that is joining and watching this for the first time, I love working with single professional women, and I help them heal, evolve, and grow so that they can manifest the life and love that they desire and that they deserve. So welcome. Make sure you're following me all over the internet, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And welcome to our time together. Today I want to talk about surrendering because I noticed somebody made a comment about that in the group. As a topic you would like me to cover, I've covered it as well and a number of additional videos on YouTube. So you can go to bit.ly/fiercetv and scroll through and find some additional videos. But I know that when it comes to surrendering and letting go, that is hard. And I encourage my clients to do it all the time. I do it all the time. I do it every single day. Because it's just that impactful and it's just that important. And I know when it comes to us living our lives, that sometimes we just really need to let go. We need to surrender, and we need to know that everything's going to be okay and that where we are is okay. And I was just watching a TED Talk sometime, preparing for a TED Talk. I was watching some last night. And you can look up one by Letitia Bracey, who's somebody that I know. And she did her talk on, I think it's called like, What Color Is Your Fence? And her whole premise and idea behind that was that as women, we're constantly thinking about, I got to get the degree, I got to get the home, I got to get this, I got to get that, I need the house with the white picket fence. And we get so wrapped up into the life that we're supposed to have. That we get frustrated and upset when our life doesn't unfold the way that we want it to, or that opportunities don't come to us when we want them to, or that we're still waiting for a husband or a child or a family or even a home. And she encouraged us to stop thinking about this big vision that is a societal image that's placed in our minds to have the white picket fence, the house, the husband, the car, the clothes, and all of that. And instead, she challenges us to think about what color our fence really is, or what color our fence really would be. And at the end, she says, my fence is pink. What color is your fence? Right? And that's really about you kind of surrendering and letting go and allowing things to unfold, but knowing that your fence doesn't have to be that white picket fence. And you don't have to have the husband by 32. You don't have to have your purpose fully filled out for you and fulfilled, by 25. And, you don't have to have your first kid by the time you're 23. You might have it at 43, and that's okay if that is the plan you have for you. Hey, Sherry, how are you? Did I say your name right? So, right. So again, I challenge you to think about the same thing, right? And as I'm watching this TED Talk, I'm like, that is such a good idea to think about it in terms of the fence. So I challenge you, just like, Tish challenged in her video and her TED Talk. Again, what color is your fence? And you can find her video on YouTube as well from TED. But what color would your fence be, right? So I think it's getting out of this idea of this, American dream or your family's dream, or, when I was a little girl, I wanted this thing. Okay, look at where you are now. What do you really want? And I find sometimes that I talk to women, they're not always clear at what they want, or what they do want is really coming from the ideals of somebody else, right? Because a lot of times I talk to women and it's like, well, I'm the only one that's not married. So, then that must be my issue, or whatever the case may be. But think about what it is that you really want. Think about what color would your fence be. It doesn't have to be the white fence. It doesn't have to fit into the little standards that we kind of put out for ourselves. So when it comes to this idea of surrendering so that you can soar, right? Because when you surrender and let go, you soar to heights and levels that you never thought of or imagined. Because surrendering is basically you letting go and allowing God to kind of take over and navigate and do things on your behalf, right? And as a result of you surrendering, hey DeAndrea, I emailed you too, but as a result of you surrendering and letting go, you allow yourself to work from the inside out. And I was just watching Ayan Fix My Life. She has an episode with a reality star, and her name is Hazel E, right? Why do I look blurry? I don't know what my camera's doing. Weird. And she was doing this Ayanna Fix My Life, right? So with this reality star, and she takes her into the room with all of these, famous black women, and she makes her read her inappropriate lyrics to her and all this stuff or whatever. But the part that really resonated with me was that once they got through that exercise, she looks at her and she says, you know what makes you different from all of these women on the wall, Rosa Parks, Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman, and so on and so forth, is that in order for them to navigate in their world, they work from the inside out to make things happen. But the reason why you're here and you're struggling is because you're working from the outside in, and that's the wrong way. If you want to manifest, if you want to live the life that you want, if you want to, evolve and grow and really manifest what you want, you got to come from here. And then it's going to manifest on the outside. So when it comes to surrendering, right? And like I said, I know it's not easy. It's as simple as saying, God, I surrender. I trust you. I trust that things are unfolding the way that they need to unfold. I allow you to use me. I allow things to unfold in the way that you want. I allow it to happen in its own time frame. And then lastly is I'm open to receiving. God, I'm positioned. God, I'm open to receiving, right? Having them hands open means you're open to receiving. That's the receiving position. But if you like this so tight into stuff, that means you're not surrendering. That means you're not open. But you like, oh, I need a baby, Lord. I need a husband. Where they going when you got closed fists and you want it to happen the way you want it to happen? Imagine that's what's in those hands and you're tightly closed like this. But God has something, might not look or come in a way that you want it to. But you're so tightly balled up that it's hard for him to release that to you, right? Everything that you want is already there. It just needs to be released in its own time frame, right? And I think sometimes we get hung up on those things. But here's the thing. When we surrender and we let go, we get stuff quicker. And the quality of it shows up better, right? So you're like, oh, I want that man, or oh, I want him to propose. When you release it and you let it go and you're like, you know what, I'm minding my business. I don't even care whether I get married. I don't even care if I get this car. I'm going to just keep it moving. I swear to you not. That's when stuff starts popping up that you have let go because you're not so heavily attached to it. That's what surrendering is. You're not attached to it. And surrendering doesn't mean you're weak. Doesn't mean that you are submissive, right? It actually means that you're strong, right? It actually means that you're in a position to handle whatever it is that God's taking you, and you're going to be content with that and you're going to be okay with that. And again, that's how you get bigger blessings that are a better quality, that seem and feel even more divine when you surrender and you let go because you're so content with where you are. And I think another thing we got to start switching and focusing on is not focusing so much on, who or what we're attracting into our lives, but making this shift. And I got this shift when I was on Instagram one day, looking at my girl, Sarah Jakes Roberts. And she had made a post about her, about how her current husband showed up in her life. And her whole thing was she shifted because she stopped focusing so much on attracting him to her. But instead she shifted and focused on attracting the very best version of herself. And for me, that was an aha moment. That I know allowed me to even surrender even more than I already was. And since I read that day, it's like there's a peace that I know has overcome me just from reading that. But again, so she said, when I stopped trying to attract him to my life, when she didn't know who he was at the time, and I focused instead on attracting the best version of myself. That's what I put my attention on, becoming the best version of me. So stepping into my purpose, getting my finances in order, focusing on my own body, and being content and happy with me serving the community, being content but allowing God to use me, being content with where I was financially, and being okay with that and being grateful that at least I have what I have, is what ultimately would drew her husband to her. But think about, what do you want to draw to you? Is it money? Is it your career? Is it something with your business? Is it a husband? Is it a child? Is it a proposal? I don't know. Whatever it is, is it a new home? Whatever it is that you desire, if you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, just like Ayanna said, when it comes from in here, then you can manifest and attract whatever you want, because you become an energetic match. You become a vibrational match for the things that you desire. But again, if you're so attached to the outcome and when it's going to come, how it's going to come, what it's going to look like, who it's going to look like, who it's going to be around, then you're going to miss out on, really honestly, some of the simple pleasures and joys of life and living. If you're so tightly wound up and tied to how it's going to flow into your life, how it's going to come into your life, and how it's going to unfold. So, getting still, that is why I am encouraging you to surrender and let go so that you can soar to new levels, right? And I teach the acronym even in my book. And I teach it sometimes when I hop on calls with some of you, Born Fierce. The STAR method: surrender, trust, allow, receive. Lord, I surrender it to you. I trust that you're guiding and directing me, or I trust that everything's unfolding perfectly, or I trust that it's going to happen in divine timing. You know, the A is a STAR. So the A is I allow. I allow you to use me. I allow you to work through me. I allow you to say what you need to say through me. If I need to go somewhere and say something through me, you know, I allow you to download things to me and give me revelation. I allow you to give me, you know, confirmations. And then lastly, I'm open to receiving. I receive. Hey, Charity. So I receive the blessing, right? Or I receive the fact that you're going to bless me today, or I receive the confirmation that I've been asking for, right? And here's another thing, which is not even dealing with surrendering. But when it comes to surrender, trust, allow, receive, once you surrender something and you let it go, that doesn't mean you don't still have to take action on a thing, but that also doesn't mean that you cannot ask for things. Do you know that each of us around us, we have spiritual guides around us at all times. And I think a lot of us don't realize that. I don't even know if you're at that level or not. I don't know if you're open to that or not, but there are spiritual guides that are in your life. Some people call them angels. Some people call them spiritual guides. And if you don't know about them, you can get a book called Angel Armies, right? You can go on Amazon and find that, that are literally fighting and working on your behalf. And I don't think you realize you have spiritual guides that are on your side, that will guide and direct you. So in the surrendering, there's support. But I think most times we don't realize we have that support. You can call on those guides at any time to help you out, to give you wisdom, to give you guidance. Let me tell you how my guides work. So I have a spiritual life coach, and she I guess I'll say she has the gift of second sight, so she can see things. She's very much spiritual, in a whole nother level. So anyway, she's the one that kind of brought me up, the spiritual guys, into my own awareness, and was saying, you know, you should connect with them more. And I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? That's a lot. So I gave it a try. And during my prayer time, I opened myself up to, you know, connecting with them. And one thing I asked for at the time, I was very much behind on my grading. And I was like, I have so much stuff to grade. I have so much stuff to get done. And I was overwhelmed. And I was like knee deep in grading, because I had been doing all of these lives and making challenges for y'all, right? So I had asked for guidance. I'm like, I need guidance on this. I need support on this. You know, if these guys, like, if y'all are real, like, help a sister out. Like, what can I do to get, like, I need energy. I need strength. I need something to help me get all this shit done. Okay. So anyway, I packed up all my stuff. I went out to a little cafe. That's why I like to go to like little cafes that have like soups and sandwiches when I'm grading. Because when I'm in a house, I just want to get on live and I just want to work on my business. And y'all know I work, so I get that job done. Right? So anyway, I went in there and I was grading for like 2 hours or whatever. It usually takes me. I usually go like 2 to 3 hours. And then this little old lady came up to me out of nowhere. She does not know me from a can of paint. I think she said she was going to turn 70 this year. And she just approached me and she just started talking to me like, oh, I see that you're grading. And, you know, I see what you're doing. And I was like, okay, nice. Like, why are you, I'm thinking, why are you over here? Right. So I said, well, did you feel called to come talk to me? And she said, yes, I did. And I said, okay. And she told me her name. She told me her name was June. And, you know, then she said, do you believe in Jesus? And I said, of course I believe. Of course. Girl, you know you're talking to. She said, well, can I pray for you really quick? I want to pray for you over your grading. So I'm like, okay. Mind you, a couple hours before I went out is when I prayed and I surrendered it. And I said, let me tap into this guide thing because my coach, she's doing the most. So I sat there and I was like, okay, this is interesting. And then, you know, I closed my eyes, and then the little old lady prayed for me and said, you know, it's my hope and prayer, you know, that you're able to get everything done. You know, I pray over the strength, the energy to get this done. I'm in there like, mind is blown, right? Because I'm like, wow, this is interesting. That's that spiritual realm right there for you. And then she said, you know what, you be blessed, have a good day. And she left. So right then and there, for one, I manifested that, right? When I went back and talked to my coach, she was like, you manifested that. But I'm like, yeah, because even though I surrendered it, I also realized in that moment I also had support and guidance through the process. And guess what? I did end up getting everything done. Not at that particular moment, but over the next couple of days, I was able to get all of my grading done, get everything updated. When the kids came back, I was able to give things back and all of that kind of stuff. But I think that we got to keep that in mind, that when it comes to surrendering and letting go and being content, that you're not alone. You're not by yourself. That there are guys that are there to guide you on the journey, if only you know how to tap into them, right? And I'm still learning myself about them. But I will say that the number of things that I've asked for in the last couple of weeks alone, they have manifested. I asked my guys, I'm like, I need help with my TED Talk outfit. Can y'all help me out? I kid you not, last Friday, I went into the store, and the store I go all the time. Sometimes it's a hit or miss. I ain't gonna lie. They have like a whole bunch of cute dresses for the low, right? So I went in there and I picked up a whole bunch of stuff. I went in and I walked out with like five brand new dresses. I had my TED Talk outfit. I had all these outfits for all these different things coming up, and they all fit perfectly and nicely. And I'm like, it ain't no way I just walked in here and that just happened today on this day. And they were name brand. Like, it was crazy how it just lined up. Crazy. Again, no way I can do that on my own. But again, there's a beauty to surrendering and letting go, and then tapping into God, and then tapping into your guides that work on behalf of Him to help guide you on your journey, right? And again, as I'm learning more about it, I'm sure I'll share more about it if people are interested. The more I learn about it, an excellent person to learn from, though, about it will be Tiffany Montgomery. If you go look her up and join her Facebook group, she's the one. She's also somebody that has brought up the whole guide thing to me. Lady was an angel. Oh, why are you over here? Yeah, no, I didn't say why are you over here, but I was thinking that like, lady, because I'm like a whole introvert. I don't usually talk to strangers. I do more so now, because I've kind of switched my mindset on it, but I don't usually talk to random people. But again, blessing in disguise, right? And I can go on and on by how many blessings that have popped up since I've tapped into the surrendering, since I've tapped into the guides, and just really connecting with myself on a deeper level as well. I can go on and on and on, but I'm not doing that. And I'm not saying stuff to brag or to weird you guys out or to be weird. But it's just a beautiful thing that occurs. Now, here's the thing. It's beautiful. But the more you surrender, the deeper you are going to go with your consciousness, which means you're going to be more aware of whose you are, which is God and the spiritual realm, while you're here. But you're also going to start having not just positive things, but you're going to start getting revelations, and they're not always going to feel good. Right? Because you're going to be more aware of, your interactions with people. You're going to be more aware of other people's energy and how they're acting. And if they're not necessarily the most positive or healed and whole, you're going to feel those things. But the beautiful part is if you're standing in your truth and your power, and you know who you are and whose you are, then those things won't impact you or affect you as negatively. You'll know what it is when it shows up. That's for honestly a whole nother video. How to deal with a negative energy around, like other people's negative energy or other people's drama, or, the things that they bring to you or put in front of you, right? And it's a way that you can be unbothered, unapologetic about it when it pops up. But that's a whole different video, right? So again, surrender so you can soar, right? So surrendering is surrender, trust, allow, receive, right? That is basically my daily prayer. I say it every day before I walk out. I also ask my guides. I even write down what it is specifically that I want or that I need. Like, I need help with this, or I need help with that. Like, I'm going to surrender it to you, but this is what I need help with. Right? And it's not, and I think sometimes we have a hard time with asking things, but it doesn't have to be hard to ask for what you want, right? And again, remember, it's not about who or what you want to attract to you or what you want. It's about you attracting the best version of yourself. And when you position yourself to attract the best version of yourself, then people, places, and experiences are going to pop up that are going to remind you of that, or that are going to test you of who you are becoming. Because as soon as you say, oh, I surrender, I let go, I trust, I allow, I receive, or as soon as you say, okay, I surrender it, I'm going to be unapologetic, or I surrender it, this is who I am and this is what I stand for, someone or something is going to pop up to challenge that for you, or to remind you that you still have work to do. So as I said, I've gotten more into the spiritual realm, into the surrendering, and even into my spiritual guides, as in my angels. And the other day, I had a call with somebody, and I thought the call was, my regular calls that I do when somebody wants to work with me. But it turned out to not be that at all. It turned out to really be somebody else in disguise who really was there to be in connection with me, saying, I'm at the same level as you with your consciousness. I'm at the same level as you. Like, she was like, tell me more about the guys. Go deeper. Do this, do that. And we realized we had such a magnetic connection, but we wouldn't have connected before if we hadn't keep kind of surrendering and moving up in our consciousness to new levels. We would have never, because we kept saying that we were going to talk and that we were going to connect. And now was the best time, because I know I personally had moved to a new level. So now we could connect and we can have that conversation, but we couldn't have had that conversation months ago because we wouldn't have been ready. And again, that's the beauty of surrendering and letting things go and letting things flow, and kind of surrendering and being into divine flow and how things are going to go. Because you just never know. The same is true, I can say, with my TED Talk. I had put in an application at the beginning of the year because I saw they were doing a TED on education. And I'm like, well, I'm a teacher, so that would be perfect. And then everybody was saying, put in an application, put in an application. So I hurried up. I did it on the very last day that they were due, so that I can join this little TED series or whatever. And then I saw somebody on my timeline post that they had got in. And I'm like, okay, I'm checking my email. Like, okay, where's my email? Because I'm like, I know I'm about to get in. And then I ain't get no email. So I'm like, okay. So then I was never included in that particular segment of TED. So I kept thinking, okay, well, why was I not selected out of all the people y'all selected? Damn, like, come on now. It just didn't make any sense to me. So then I had to get to the place where I just surrendered and I let go. And I knew that at the right divine time, it would be time for me to have my space and to go up and to do it or whatever. So guess what? I had to get to the place where I just surrendered it. I let go. Like, I'm going to be content where I am. God, if it's for me, it's for me. If it's not, then it's not. Let me know. Give me confirmation or revelation. So a week went by, 2 weeks went by, and I didn't feel like I had any revelation. And I was like, okay, whatever. I don't even care. And then that's when I got an email. If we were to send you an invite, would you happen to be available? This is exactly how it was. Would you happen to be available on this day? Check my calendar. Yes. 2 days later, we would like to give you an official invitation to come and present, right? So, and it was divine, but because I wanted it in my time frame under that specific category, that category was never for me. That timing was never for me. To be honest, it wasn't for me. And the way that it's unfolded now has been so divine, right? So that's why you really got to surrender to divine flow, even down to their branding colors are the same branding colors as mine, or the fact that now I'm making my students do the TED Talks, and as I go through the process, I'm showing them my process, I'm showing them behind the scenes videos, I'm showing them my outline. And you know what they keep telling me? I really love this assignment. They're shocking me. They're like, I really love this assignment. This is really cool. This is really, I can't believe you're going to let me make my own talk. And, I can't wait to do it. So, and then when I show them when I show them, what I'm doing, they're like, wow, you're doing that. And it's like the timing is just perfect. But if I wanted it to be on my time, when I'm so tightly clenched to, okay, I should be doing the education series. It should be at this time. I want to be up there with these people and doing this and that. That wasn't my time. Right. So, and I learned to let go. Because what's actually going to come as a result of that, right? And I let go and I said, I'm just going to focus on attracting and being the best version of myself. If the time does come, then I'll be positioned. I'll say, God, I'm positioned. I'm ready to receive. So when that time is ready for you, you let me know, right? And I'm like, I'm positioned. I'm ready. And then that's when I got the email. And then things have just, again, unfolded like you wouldn't even have imagined. I haven't even talked about half the stuff that's unfolded. When you allow things to come at their own pace and their own timing. So you really do have to learn how to surrender if you want to soar and go to the next level. Because it's not always going to come like you want God, tell me my purpose right now. It don't necessarily work that way. Right? And again, you only need one opportunity. You only need somebody to say yes once. You only need one person to say one comment. You only need, I don't know, one something for things to shift or turn around, or for you to know, okay, now I'm soaring to that new level. And keep in mind this as well when it comes to surrendering and also giving up. So whenever you feel like it's really that time where you want to give up on something and it gets really hard, you're like, I'm tired of this. I'm tired. And I'm not talking about no little raggedy relationship with somebody you shouldn't fool with. But I'm talking about an experience or an opportunity or running your business and you want to give up because you're like, nobody's buying, nothing's not working. I will encourage you that, and I will say this, that at the point in time when you most are ready to give up, and again, we ain't talking about a bootleg relationship, is usually when your breakthrough or that thing that really is going to make you soar is coming. But you have to learn how to surrender in those moments and let go. Because on the other side of that, I promise you, is going to be some type of breakthrough. It's going to be some type of opportunity. It's going to be that one yes. Or it's going to be the thing that shifts or changes things. But it's almost like you can't see it, like you're holding on by a thread, but it's coming on the other side. So that's just one. I know that's kind of random, but that's one I want to include as we're talking here today. Hey, Jenny, I didn't even see you came on. Oh, you know what? I moved the they must have changed the comments on here. But yeah, so just keep that in mind. Whenever you want to give up, and I know I've experienced that. I've been wanting to quit my business like thousands of times. And then somebody or something will come through and boom, it's like, no, you can't quit, because somebody email, well, hey, I actually need you to do this. And I'm like, oh, okay. Right. So I promise you, and I told you guys the story earlier this year when I wanted to give up my after school club. And I was like, I don't think this is for me anymore. Like, I need to give this up. And then a week later, 2 weeks later, I'm getting funding for it. I'm constantly being recognized. Heck, is really the premise of my entire TED Talk. Had I given up on that back in September, what was I going to talk about in this TED Talk? So everything is divine and everything is unfolding and everything is connected. Your purpose is connected. Even in my TED Talk, I'm going to talk about how even that after school club I was just saying I wanted to give up on, I really started that when I was in 7th grade, when I had a book club at my house. That was called Black Girls Have Power Book Club. And I was empowering my friends through the books that we read. So it ain't a surprise that I'm an author. Hint, hint. Right? And it's just a continuation. It's a journey. Right? And if we really go back and look at our lives, you'll see how divinely things are constantly unfolding. And if you surrender to the process and you take a look back, right, and you're able to heighten that consciousness, as I mentioned earlier, you'll see how all the little pieces, how they came together. Even the negative stuff and even the painful experience. When I was in church this past weekend and everybody had like ran up to the altar. I don't usually go up there unless I really need to. And as I was back at my chair, since everybody had ran up, what came to me was just the idea that pain is always pain always has a purpose, right? There's always a purpose for it. Your pain, there's a purpose that's attached to it. And that was just something that just kept coming up over and over and over again, as I was praying at that time. But just keeping that in mind, that the negative experiences, again, when you want to give up, when you've had a breakup, when you're unsure about what to do with certain things, like when something traumatic or difficult is happening to you or your family members in your household, or whatever the case may be, or even if it's a difficult season of your life, that the pain always has a purpose. But again, if you can surrender to the process, trust that it's there for a reason, allow it to flow and move through you. You got to feel it. If you don't feel it, you're going to carry it, and then you're going to carry that over, and it's going to spill out to other things you do, other people you interact with. Or if you have children, it's going to trickle down to them until somebody in your family, in the bloodline, is willing to feel it and to heal it so they can move forward and move through it. Which I think is a powerful thing to think about, that there are things that you deal with that you have to learn to surrender, that your mother, your grandmother, your great-grandmother, your great-great-great-grandmother, that they maybe didn't have the capacity to heal, they didn't have the courage to heal, they didn't know how to heal, and it trickles down, right? That's how we get teenage pregnancy every year. That's how we have, rape and molestation sometimes. It's trickled down. You talk to one person and like, oh, this happened to me. And then you go to their mom, oh, that happened to me. Then you go to their grandma and you're like, oh, shit. It's a cycle, right? It trickles down. So somebody has to be willing to feel it and to heal it and to deal with it so we can start breaking every chain, right? And we can start breaking those cycles and patterns. But again, that goes back to learning how to surrender, how to trust, how to allow things to unfold the way they need to unfold, or allow God to use you or do what he needs to do. You can even say, God, I allow you to turn my pain into purpose. There we go. And then lastly, being open to receive and saying, God, I position myself and I receive, right? A powerfully positioned woman is always going to be in a position to receive. And obviously receiving from the most positive ways, from the universe, right? And from God, right? But again, if you're positioned, the position of your heart and even the posture of a powerful woman should always be in that mode to receive from God, right? But again, so many of us, I don't even think we think into it in that way to even realize that we got to be positioned to receive. We got to surrender to receive. We got to let go in order to receive what we really want. So practice that. Surrender, trust, allow, receive. See how it feels for you, right? And if you are interested, please make sure you try to check out my TEDx talk, which is going to be on Saturday, April 28th, 2018. My time slot is 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's going to be online, and I will send out the link again for those who can watch it live. If you're able to show up live, that's also great. I know regular tickets are sold out. VIP tickets are $70 and $100. That includes lunch. There are 23 speakers, so that's why that is your cost. And you get to eat and sit with the speakers. You get to talk to all of the different people. Of course, you won't be with me. I don't know how they're breaking up where you get to sit. I don't know if you get to select that or not. I'm not really sure, but I know it is 8 to 5 on that day. But anyway, it will be professionally recorded, and then it will be uploaded to YouTube in May, obviously, for TEDx for the entire world to see. Once it's edited in May, and obviously I'll be sending that out. And then lastly, I will say that in May, I will be opening up Powerfully Positioned Woman Academy again. The ladies that are going through it now are awesome. And they're doing the work, and they got to. That's what I'm saying. They have to do the work. So I'm excited for you guys to hear their testimonies in the weeks to come as they come through, and I'll be ready once this group goes through, and once I get this TED Talk out of the way, and I get it completed. And remember that confidence, that completion equals confidence. So when you complete something, it boosts that confidence as well. And that also makes it easier to surrender to the process the next time around. But sometimes you got to go through before you can get to the place where you're able and, I guess, comfortable enough in the surrender. But again, completion equals confidence, right? And once you complete something that's taking up a lot of your time and your energy, or you might be a little bit afraid about, it bumps you up to, again, the next level of consciousness, the next level of confidence. And it allows you to continue to go up higher. But anyway, Powerfully Positioned Women Academy will open again in May. I haven't selected a date yet, but I'll be coming out with that soon. A new challenge will be coming out soon as well. We're not doing one for this month just because I don't have the energy or the time. In addition to doing TED and working with my private clients who are, I'm just thinking about them. They're awesome and they're amazing. But anyway, that's it. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed. I hope something has resonated with you that you can think about more. Either it was a confirmation for you or a revelation for you about surrendering. I share my own personal stories. This to obviously show you that I do the work on myself, and obviously I share it with my clients and the women that I work with. And now my students, I keep telling y'all, like, they're catching on. And like, I really need to, like, they owe me thousands at this point of the, like, they caught on and now they think I'm like their little private life coach. I'm gonna need them to cut that out. But anyway, they're constantly like, can I talk to you over lunch? Can I come after class? Because they, you know, getting this free advice. I need them to calm down, right? They're adorable and I'm gonna miss them dearly when they graduate. We'll get to that in a couple, well, like 2 months. Hopefully I'll keep it together at graduation. But anyway, I hope that you guys have enjoyed. Hope something has resonated. Please make sure if you are catching this as a replay or catching this on YouTube, that you leave a comment. So I know that it resonates with you. Again, if you're interested in learning more about the spiritual guides or the angels, check out Tiffany Montgomery's group. Tiffany is phenomenal. She has her Millions conference coming up. And my friend Tamika, she's like, are you going? Are you going? I might want to get my ticket. It's in Texas. I have never been to Texas, so I'm thinking I want to go because that's on my that's on my travel board. But anyway, check her out. She was my very first, she was my she was I guess she still is an Essence bestseller. And she's written a number of books and now she's an entrepreneur, but she's very much into the spiritual world. And, she's very much deeply into like the Bible and like the biblical truths, and her group is growing. Her conference is growing. Again, it's Tiffany Montgomery. And she's phenomenal at the angels, the spiritual guys. And if you go, I think it's called like Tiffany Montgomery's book club. And it used to be in a group, there was like a list of the books that they've done. And you can find a number of books on things in the spiritual world. And surrender is obviously a big one. And the spiritual guides or the angels is also another big one. If you haven't tapped into it or looked into it, you're not unsure about it. Or also if you're like, I don't know about that, that's probably because you just don't have enough knowledge about it. So be open to it. Give it a shot. And see how it goes. So anyway, I love you all. I hope you have enjoyed. I'm excited about going live more once TED is over. I'm going to go because I'm about to go practice TED again. Because I just got more feedback, girl, a couple of days before. So I'm going to go practice again so that I'm ready to hit the stage. And I look forward. She said, come on down. I can't remember what part. It's not Houston. Maybe it's Dallas. I think you're in Dallas, aren't you? I don't know. I think, right or no? But I need to make up my mind if I'm going to go to that conference and buy that ticket. And I need to get my Beyonce tickets. I need to stop playing and get these tickets for everything, right? So that I can go to these different places. But anyway, again, I love you all and have a good rest of your day. Bye.